Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, November 21st, 2016.
Commissioner Rivas, Repenning, James, Davis, and Jacinto are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Tim Tyson, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Michael Ruiz, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Pat Chang, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Chris Smith, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Asad Al-Najjar, Bureau of State Lighting.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we received speaker cards under general public comment. We do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comments section, and we also received speaker cards on items 1, 2, 4, and 5.
Okay, thank you. We'll close the Neighborhood Council category of commentary. Our first item of business, the approval of the meeting minutes from the meeting of Monday, August 31st, 2016. Is there a second to my motion that we approve those meeting minutes? By Commissioner Repenning. Any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. We do have a presentation this morning for 3 service retirement awards. Mr. Gaines from the Bureau of Sanitation.
All right. Good morning, Commissioners, Bureau Heads, and Execs. Lloyd Gaines with the Bureau of Sanitation. I'm here to recognize one of our city employees. I know we had 3 on the schedule, but for various reasons, the other 2 couldn't make it. So,
okay. So we have 1 today. Go ahead,
yes.
sir.
So before I present this, just a couple of words. I want to thank you guys for formally recognizing the retired employees, because I got word of mouth that this really means a lot to them coming to this setting and getting this award. Coming to the board is sort of like closure for their careers. It's like, if you think about it, the final phases of life, you get married, you have kids, you become teenagers, your hair get gray or sometimes bald, and the house becomes empty, and you finally get to say, I can retire and relax, right? So it's a big deal with the employees when they retire. They can slow life down, wake up later, drink more coffee, and watch everybody else scramble and rush to work, which sounds good to me. You may not know, our sanitation drivers, they get up, depending on where they live, as early as 3 a.m. just to get to work by 5:30 so they can check the vehicles out and get on the road, and sometimes put up as late as 4 p.m. depending on staffing and stuff like that. So they have pretty long days. I'm noticing more and more that our employees not only not retiring at 30 years old, they're retiring at 35 and 40 years old. And I'm thinking that that might be a good sign that they really enjoy their jobs. I mean, you have to stay that long. They really do their jobs well when you consider how big these trucks are and how small our streets are, and just navigating that for 35, 40 years. It's really impressive. So today, I would like to recognize Robert Gear. If you can step up, Robert. So Robert, 35 years of dedication, excellent service to the city of LA. His career started in 1980 with street trees, went to Water and Power, then Park and Recs, and finally landed with sanitation as a refuse collection truck operator. He's now enjoying life or retirement as a spin cycle instructor, which is really good to be that physical, and refereeing various sports events. Sounds like fun, and Mr. Gear is happily married with 3 adult children to help him enjoy his retirement, and he has one of his daughters here to support him here. I would personally like to congratulate Mr. Gear, thank you for your service, and wish you well in your retirement and everything you've done for the city.
Hey, Lloyd, you could flip that open, and she'll take a photo of that with the 2 of you,
Okay.
and then we'll.
Up here?
Yeah, just flip There you go.
Come on.
It's for the,
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Got it.
I would like to
Go
say
ahead, sir.
thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. to the board.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I would like to say thank you, and I'm kind of full right now, but I thank my daughter for coming with me. Tasha, stand up, please. This job has really blessed me. This city has really blessed me, and it's been good to me for 35 years. I raised 2 children, just like Mr. Gaines said. All of them finished college, and I was thankful for that. And I've been really blessed to have this job. So I just want to thank you for allowing me a chance to say something and get this reward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so unfortunately, the other 2, we'll get the certificates to them, and then we'll see you guys on the next round of retirement.
Okay, thank you.
All right?
Thank you, Lloyd. We appreciate it. Mr. Greer, I would just like to say, and a couple of my colleagues may want to say something to you. I want to say thank you to you for your 35 years. That's a lot of service to one city. Your jobs, as they were described, of course, in various capacities, were public safety jobs. And you worked every day to ensure the safety of the people that not only live in our city, but the people that work in our city, and even the people that visit our city, of course. It's always bittersweet when we see someone who's been with the city so long. They have that institutional knowledge and experience. So it's hard for us to lose an employee like you to retirement. But at the same time, we also are very excited that we have people like you that are dedicated to their city service for their entire career. And so we feel equally as pleased about your service with the city as you described with your opportunity to work in the city. So thank you, sir, to you and your wife and your family, because your family gives up time with you when you come work for the city of LA as well. So thank you, sir. Commissioner Cinto?
Thank you, President James. Mr. Greer, equally blessed are we to have you for 35 years. For your service, for your family, and just your energy coming up here, and just the testifying to the blessings goes both ways, sir. So thank you for serving our city, for back to basics, the agenda of just taking care of business, of the work ethic that you have. And I have no doubt that you're going to take that work ethic to the spin class. So I'm not going to go to that spin class, because you're going to work everybody out real hard and referee, and you're going to be a great referee, sir. So you'll continue to have a great life, and thank you for spending a little bit with us. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Cinto. Commissioner Rivas?
I just wanted to thank you for your service. I'm new to the board, and I've met lots of people that work for the bureaus that are trying to improve our city, but sometimes are not appreciated by the residents. People get upset when there's construction or something is blocking their street, but I know you're doing it to improve the lives of the people. So I just wanted to thank you for that, and I'm so impressed that all of your kids went to college, and that the city of LA was able to help you and while you were helping us. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas. Commissioner Davis?
Robert, it is certainly an honor and a privilege for me, as well as my colleagues, to commend you for your 35 years of service. Public service is an honorable profession, and I think that you are an example of the benefits that not only can come to the city that you have served, but the benefits that you gain from having served. And so on behalf of the Board of Public Works, I am honored to thank you. You are a role model, and my hope is you're so young that you will continue to thrive and even get another career. So you have one great check coming, and I know that as you go out and talk to many young people in the community, they will take from you the things that you have done in your life. I've always said probably the best history lesson is those things and milestones that we have accomplished in our lives, and these are the things that people part and take from us. And so you are an outstanding role model, and what I always say in conclusion is what makes the city of Los Angeles great are the great people in it, and we consider you one of those. Thank you so very much for 35 years of service, And I might add, in the United States' second largest city, you have served the public, and we're grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis and Commissioner Repenning.
Mr. Greer, I just want to thank you as well. And, I think that it's the core services that sanitation provides in the city of cleanliness and livability, making sure that our neighborhoods are clean and safe for everyone, are just have a tremendous value and a tremendous impact. To get up every day early, I know you guys get up early, for 35 years and go to work for this city is indeed a huge accomplishment, and we are greatly appreciative of what you have given. And we hope that you enjoy your retirement, rest, go to spin class. You're going to have to tell me where you teach. I might show up one day. I'll be in the front row, just so you know. And just really want to thank you. Also want to give a shout out to Mr. Humes and Mr. Knott for their combined 49 years of service to the city. Hope that they also as well, if you could pass it on, Lloyd, that they also enjoy their retirement as well. Thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner Repenning. So we'll take just a brief recess from the agenda while we take a photo, sir, with you and your wife, with the board up here. Oh, your daughter, I'm sorry. I thought you introduced her as your wife. I misunderstood. I'm sorry. Hey, thank you, everyone. Going back on our agenda, agenda item number 8, administrative item, recommending that the board approve the request of Skanska, Stacy, and Whitbeck, a joint venture for subcontractor substitution of Clean Street Sweeping Incorporated with Advantage Demo and Grading for the 6th Street Viaduct Replacement Project 2 Viaduct Demolition. Is there a second to my motion that we adopt agenda item number 8 forthwith? By Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Agenda item number 6. It's been requested by the Bureau that we continue agenda item number 6 to Monday, November 28th, 2016. That's a week from today. Correct, Mr. Tyson, on that? Okay, so any objection to continuing agenda item number 6? I will continue agenda item number 6. Going to agenda item number 1. Council District 13, task for solicitation number 11 to Rios Clemente Hale Studios Recommend that the board authorize the city engineer to issue the task for solicitation to Rios Clemente Hale Studios from the pre-qualified on-call architectural consultants list to provide design services for the Central Service Yard Master Plan project as stated in task order solicitation number 11, with a budget authority of $180,000, which includes contingency. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 1.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
And good morning to Ms. Rivas. It's time we break you in. It's time to break you in because we know that when we have to bring consultants into our work environment, there are hidden and padded wallets or a slip of envelopes going on behind closed doors in the chambers. So I am against this proposal in Bitch O'Farrell's council district, because Bitch O'Farrell always bitches about his constituents, that they do this, they don't do that, all they do is bitch. But on behalf of the bitches from Mr. O'Farrell right there by the park, I want you to know that homeless people disagree when it comes to consultants to list and provide design services, because they don't include services for people who are disabled, people who are involuntarily, unfortunately, homeless. So if there's going to be a design service for a task for this solution under the Hale Studios, maybe Hale Studios should get involved with dealing with the unfortunate homeless population of people who need a design and service built around them so that no person goes unclaimed for under the Central Service Yard Master Plan project. But this budget is authorizing only $180,000, which includes a contingency. Another inflammatory word brought by you by Herb Weston Jr. So, in all due respects, Mr. Mitch O'Farrell, as you bitch to the bitches, I just want you to know that I disagree with your proposal on item 1, and I demand a letter of explanation into the detail as to why you want this architectural consultant to be listed on the design.
On number 1, Mr. Spindler, you put in a card with the name Puppet on here. So here's Mr. Puppet.
Yes, I'd like to take this opportunity first. First of all, there is nothing worse than Mitch O'Farrell. He's a puppet for the developers. Now we look at this bullshit. Rios Clemente Hale Studios. You already have architects. You already build all kinds of shit. So if you already have these people on your staff, then why are we providing these pre-qualified on-call services with $180,000? Why? Because the lobbyists want it. The lobbyists have told you to give these people $180,000 for Black Friday shopping. So you're going to go to Lowe's, you're going to go to Home Depot, even you're going to go buy new shit with this $180,000 free gift, including new furniture, wood paneling on your offices, but the city's not going to get anything. So all of you people that voted here in Los Angeles, you're just wasting your fucking time. Because if you want something here, it's an ATM. All you do is you hire who? Englander, Kanabi, Allen. And then what happens if you oppose these Englander, Kanabi, and Allen? They fuck your life up. That is right. So you cannot go against Englander, Kanabi, and Allen. I worship you, Englander. I worship you, Kanabi. I worship you, Allen. Let's all say it together. Bow to England or Carnarvon Island. They own this fucking
2
building.
minutes.
They own my ass. They own my goddamn ass.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Paul Sang. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Commissioners. Paul Sang, Bureau of Engineering. This morning, I'm here to request approval of the task order budget authority of $180,000, as mentioned earlier, for the Central Service Yard Master Plan Project, or CSY in short. And as we know, CSY is a main hub operated by Department of Recreation and Parks, which supports the department's daily function in terms of administration, in terms of the construction, maintenance, and recreational programming, basically the daily operations main hub. We're here asking the Rios Clemente Hale Studios to prepare and produce a master plan that would, first of all, seek opportunities to carve out a river fronting portion of the CSY site as a new public open space for recreational use, and at the same time also study opportunities to modernize and make the entire facilities more efficient for recreation and parks operations. And so we have previously authorized Rios Clemente Hale Studios to start with a partial notice to proceed in the amount of $95,000. And so they have started work and having completed all the initial investigations of the site, documenting the programming needs of the facilities, and we're in the process of further study and to finalize the master plan. So we're looking at probably in about 3 to 4 months to wrap up this exercise.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sang. Commissioner Jacinto on number 1.
Thank you, President James. Paul, thank you for the report. You know, the sort of taking a look at the Central Service Yard, that's the Boneyard, right? Is that what they call the nickname, or no? Informally. It's an important opportunity to make that more efficient, right? And that's what this master plan will do. And I think the basic question of the justification is it is over and above our current capacity and current abilities in the architectural division to provide for these services. So thus the rationale for the TOS and the scope of work.
Right.
But what will result in this project is a better laid out, a master planned area where we'll have more parkland,
right,
and a better, more efficiently run yard, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean, it's to create recreational open space opportunities for the public. And also, over the years, the CSY hasn't been operating as most optimum fashion. So this exercise will help identify all the ways to make it a much more efficient operations.
Great. Thank you, Paul.
Right.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Commissioner Penning?
I just want to say that, we've been obviously looking at every opportunity to build out our LA River Master Plan, and as it happens, the city actually owns a number of key parcels adjacent to the river, and this is a huge one, and a huge opportunity for us to look at our own land and restructure our activities on that land to allow for access and open space along the river. This is the location of this facility is in kind of the central part of the river, the area with the soft bottom and all the vegetation. It's within the arbor study, so whatever we do here could be used in terms of our looking at a match for future federal funds. So I think it's a great project. Want to just thank the council office for directing this and for organizing this. I think we're going to actually end up having to do this on a number of other parcels as all of this unfolds. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Penning. Anything further on agenda item number 1? Commissioner Jacinto's made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 1, seconded by Commissioner Penning. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 1 forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Sang. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Agenda item, Chris, agenda item number 7, Council District 8, acceptance of a contract, secondary sewer renewal program, Vernon Avenue and Western Avenue, Slauson Avenue and Van Ness Avenue, and Florence Avenue and Western Avenue and 92nd Street, recommending that the board accept the contract. Mr. Smith on number 7.
Chris Smith, Bureau Contract Administration, General Services Division. This contract was awarded March 18, 2014, completed January 9, 2015, and rehabilitated approximately 4.1 miles of sewers. The contractor met all of the outreach requirements of the contract. There are no outstanding property or financial issues. There was no PLA on this job, and therefore the Bureau recommends acceptance.
Any questions on agenda item number 7? Any questions on number 7? I don't have any questions on number 7. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 7, seconded by Commissioner Repenning. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 7. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 7 forthwith. Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 2, Council District 5, above ground facility variance, 10748 West Rose Avenue. Recommending that the board first approve the request for a variance from the height limitation requirements of the above ground facilities ordinance pursuant to Los Angeles Municipal Code section 6208 VB, and second, authorize Mobility LLC to install a 42-foot high wood monopole in the public right-of-way adjacent to 10748 West Rose Avenue. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 2.
Well, here's another one with Paul Koretz. The issue revolving around a variance for a height. Aren't we tired of height variances? Don't you get sick and tired of something that you expect and something that you actually see as a result of what you expect? And such a budget to allow a 42-foot, 2-inch high wood monopole in a public right-of-way? Now the question is, under Wiltz versus Los Angeles, is this monopole going to impact the community or result in our access on a sidewalk or in a public area? Because the harshest, most unexplainable situation when you block the public right-of-way, it impacts those who live off of West Rose Avenue at 10748 and anything adjacent to that address. Now, whether or not the monopole was given a pay-to-pay, pay-to-bribe you situation in this action, I find that offensive on behalf of the public for the ground facility variance, once again at 10748 West Rose Avenue. So under this issue of requirements for the above ground facility, isn't it time that in the 20th century that we not allow public right-of-ways to be interrupted or bothered by any nonprofit or outside agency to come in and pay you behind closed doors without the transparency of knowing what public right-of-way that you're impacting? Because that's the question the public wants to know, is why all these public right-of-ways now are being interrupted by such actions of putting and placing 42-foot poles in an area of public access. So once again, Wiltz versus Los Angeles.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. Spindler, your puppet card is in on number 2.
So I think, as well pointed out in case number 16 CV 5655, Spindler versus City of Los Angeles, I think the most important thing about this and everything else is that this city is a criminally run, crimotagic, and toxic fucking place to even be. Because if this place wasn't run by criminality, you'd never do something like this. You would require them to find a building or private property or something not in the right-of-way. But because it's a crimogenic city, you don't want to take the time to protect the people from this city from your lobbyists and all of your private interests. So the court wanted to know, I didn't serve my lawsuit within 20 days, and the court wanted to know if I had good cause for not filing my federal lawsuit and serving my federal lawsuit that's been filed on the defendant city. So I went ahead on November the 17th and I filed a declaration in open court which clearly describes everything that goes on in this building, including this fucking bullshit over there in CD5 with one Mr. Paul Koretz, who is nothing but a piece of shit that works for special interests and doesn't even represent us. So I think what you need to do is stop paying their salaries with public funds. You need to have all of you and the city council have the lobbyists and the special interests pay your salaries. Because you don't represent us. You don't give a fuck about us. You don't represent us. What you do is you take and you suppress everybody that gets in your way. And that's why nobody's here today. Nobody's here today. There'd be 100 people here today, but because you people conspire against everybody that stands in your way in your theft, this is what you do. You give away our city and our entitlements 1 inch, 42 feet, 2 inches at a time. And this is fucking bullshit, and I want all of this
2
stopped.
minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Mr. Ledoux on agenda item number 2.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Ledoux. I work for Bureau of Engineering Central District. As I said, this is a mobility monopole, 42 feet 2 inches. It is in a residential area in CD5, Paul Koretz's district. They are remaining neutral. I received no phone calls or emails one way or the other on this project, and no one filed appeal. One other point that I'd like to mention, since you're going to be seeing more and more of these, is that 2/3 of the mobility sites were co-located, and co-located sites do not come before the board because they don't need any action on the Bureau of Engineering's part.
And co-located, again, just to review, co-located is more economical for the company itself, correct?
It means that they've been either able to place it on an existing utility pole, or they have a contract with the Bureau of Street Lighting to place it on one of their streetlight poles.
And they co-locate as many as they can?
Yes, and like I said, somewhere around 2/3 of the sites are being co-located.
Okay. Commissioner Cinto.
Thank you, President James. Jeff, thank you for the report. Just going back to the access question, that this is going to be installed in the public in the parkway, correct?
It's going to be in a sidewalk, yes, in the public right-of-way. The ordinance has ADA requirements in it. If this is a local or collector street, we have to allow for a 4-foot pedestrian passage. If it's in a highway designated thoroughfare, then it has to be 6 feet, and both of those are much stricter than even the federal ADA guidelines.
So we're in compliance with ADA?
They're in compliance with both the city's ADA and the less stricter federal ADA.
Great. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Commissioner Cinto. Anything further? Okay, Commissioner Cinto's made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 2. I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2. Any issues sending number 2 forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith. Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 3, Council District 11, above-ground facility variance for 1245 South McClellan Drive, recommending that the board first approve the request for a variance from the height limitation requirements of the above-ground facilities ordinance pursuant to Los Angeles Municipal Code Section 6208 VB, and second, authorize Mobility LLC to install a 49-foot, 2-inch high wood monopole in the public right-of-way adjacent to 1245 South McClellan Drive on the Centinela side of the lot. Mr. Spindler, you have a puppet card in on number 3.
Yeah, so here we go, this time in Mike Bonin's district, which is, again, a radio pole. We know that gives off energy, and we know it hurts people, but what do you care in a crimogenic city ran by criminals, for the criminal, and by the criminal, and the lobbyists, and the scumbag, and the cheat? you're going to go ahead and again put another one of these things in the public right of way without finding alternative sources and locations on private property. So how much do we get for this? What is the value of this entitlement? Are the taxpayers getting that entitlement? How much is this really worth over a 30-year period of time? And the answer is, you don't care, because everybody's been paid. You've been paid your salary, you're going to be paid your pensions, you're going to be paid for your costs of everything from a car to free gas to even gift cards probably to stores on Thursday and Friday. Then the lobbyists got paid, and then the lobbyists paid off the councilman, and then the councilman gets money, additional campaign donations, and money in something called a slush fund, which is called a council account, which is basically a slush fund. And all of this goes on under the noses of the Department of Justice, the FBI, the police, the Sheriff's Department, the District Attorney, the State Attorney General, and everybody else just sits there and says, fuck me. Go ahead, fuck me. Everybody that's in LA, fuck me. Fuck me, fuck everybody in 11, fuck everybody in CD8, fuck everybody and give everything away. Go on, take everything I want you to. That's right, we're back to whole. Violet, go on, take everything. And for what? We get pennies on the dollar. Not only are you people criminals, you're fucking stupid in your business practices and don't even get the value of these entitlements for the taxpayer.
2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. On number 3, Mr. Ledoux.
Once again, this is a mobility pole, 49 feet 2 inches in residential area on McClellan Drive. It is in CD11 Mike Bonin. They are remaining neutral. I have received no phone calls or emails pro or con on this item, and nobody appealed it.
You sent out 6 notices to the 6 different property owners?
Yes, I did, as well as the neighborhood council and the council office. And when we did the board report, I sent out an email to them asking them what their position was on this application.
Okay, Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you. President James, I see that we have mobility in the House too. I'd like to ask them to really come up really quick and sort of just give quick, succinct testimony. Shannon, I think I see you there. If you can come on up and share with us really succinctly the value of the public receives from the investment and your placement of this monopole and the coverage. Can you speak to that really succinctly, please?
The current poles and our attachments will be used for to help densify the network for 4G broadband as well as our 5G that is coming within the next 2 or 3 years.
Okay, so better service in the next generation of coverage and telecommunications coverage, correct?
Sir.
Okay, thank you, Shannon.
Anything further? Any questions? Mr. Ledoux? Is there a motion? By Commissioner Jacinto. I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 3. Any issues sending it forthwith? We'll send number 3 forthwith. Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 4, Council District 15, J.F. Shea Construction Incorporated requesting change order numbers 10 and 14, recommending that the board authorize $200,000 in additional contingency and approve a revised construction budget of $6,640,869 for the Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant Tertiary Filter Rehabilitation Project. On number 4, Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 4.
Do we really need to approve construction for a budget for the Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant? What good is it building on an island offshore, but yet so close to our land? Why can't we find another temporary itinerary to reclaim the reclamation of this plant elsewhere? But no, this is all about the contingency to spend more money for a revised construction plan that we have no interest of having. So in CD 15, maybe we should put our concern and interest in Joe Blow's Terminal Island to blow it off, the way Joe Blow Busquiano likes to blow it off. If you ever take a spin around the Green Line, you might notice that off of Wilmington and Imperial, Joe Blow's area is in need to approve, and maybe even better, construct a new rail line there, as opposed to working on the Terminal Island water reclamation plant for the filterization of the rehabilitation of this project. After all, there's plenty of other locations that would probably do better for those who live in the area, as opposed to have this strenuous project go on for the additional cost of that $200,000. Mr. Chair, I waive the remaining balance of my time back to the floor.
Mr. Campos, you were going to say something?
No, we're fine, thanks.
There's no balance of time left?
2 seconds.
Okay, but has he gone over on others?
No.
All right. Mr. Spindler, you have a card in on for the puppet on number 4.
So same thing, Joe Buscaino and his illegal campaign donations. But whenever somebody comes here to City Hall, this is actually what they play for you. And it's cheap. 8 cents on the dollar. That's all you got to do to bribe these fuckers.
Everything! Take everything, developers! You lobbyist pricks! You lobbyist pricks and all your criminal co-conspirators, I hope Jeff Sessions indicts you and puts you in fucking prison for 200 years, you cocksuckers!
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Amy So on agenda item number 4.
Good morning. Amy So from the Bureau of Engineering's Environmental Engineering Division. We're requesting an increase in the budget contingency and the issuance of change order numbers 10 and 14 to the contractor for the Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant Tertiary Filter Rehabilitation Project. In May of 2015, the board awarded the contract for this project to J.F. Shea Construction Incorporated, and the construction budget was for $6,240,869, including a 5% construction contingency. This project rehabilitates and converts the tertiary filters at Terminal Island, which were installed approximately 20 years ago, to deep bed gravity flow filters with monomedia beds consisting of coarse sand and gravel. In March of 2016, the board gave approval to increase the construction contingency for this project in the amount of $200,000 and issue change order number 1. And this change order was for a change in the valve replacement sequencing for the project. This resulted in a revised contingency amount of $497,184 and a revised construction budget of $6,440,869. Change order number 10 is a change in scope, and it is to remove and replace the
filter influence supply gate actuators for an estimated amount of $82,000. The original contract calls for installation of device net cards at the location of the filter influence supply gate actuators, and these gates allow flow to go into the filter area. The plan was for the contractor to access the actuators and then install the new device net equipment. However, the actuator covers and the bolts are frozen in place, so it would require the contractor to break the covers and bolts in order to access the actuators and put in the required equipment. The actuators were also discovered to be deteriorated, and they've also reached their useful life. So this change order is to recommend replacement of the entire actuator assembly at all of the actuator locations. The change order number 14 is an unforeseen condition, and that is to remove filter media from the effluent channels for the estimated amount of $75,000. Upon isolation of the filter area, it was discovered that the filter media from the existing filters had been displaced and it spilled into the effluent channels as well as the valve galleries. And this media needs to be removed so that the construction work can continue and so that the media doesn't flow downstream and damage important process equipment, which is after the tertiary filters. And that process equipment is the advanced water purification facility at the plant. It's also estimated that we would need an additional $43,000 in additional funds to complete the remaining work, which includes potential change orders and potential unforeseen conditions. Right now, the project is about 85% complete. The contractor needs to install the last blower unit and one more pump, and then complete final programming for all the filters and the associated control devices for the filters, and then run a 30-day test. And we anticipate completion of this project early next year. So we're requesting that the board authorize $200,000 in additional contingency for a revised construction budget of $6,640,869.
Thank you, Ms. So, for the thorough report. Commissioner Davis?
Yes, I do understand this to be an extension for the contingency. Could you refresh my memory in terms of this contract, the business inclusion in the past? Did it have some business inclusion on it?
Yes, as part of the requirements to be awarded the contract for this project, the contractor J.F. Shea Construction Incorporated was required to comply with the business inclusion program, and that meant that they had to, at the time of their bid, submit a list of subcontractors that they would be pledging work to for this project.
Anything further? Is there a motion on agenda item by Commissioner Jacinto on agenda item number 4? I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 4. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 4 forthwith. Thank you, Ms. So. Have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too.
Agenda item number 5, tree removal. Council District 14, 555 and 581 South Mateo Street. Recommending that the board first certify the board has reviewed and considered the information in the mitigated negative declaration for the project at 555 and 581 South Mateo Street and find the information contained therein appropriately addresses the requested tree removals. Secondly, find that the project will not have a significant environmental effect under the above described MND as the imposition of the mitigation measures described in the MND and incorporated herein as project conditions. There is no substantial evidence the proposed project will have a significant effect on the environment pursuant to the city's environmental guidelines and is in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. 3, find the project's conflict with any local policies or ordinances protecting biological resources, such as tree preservation policies or ordinances, is less than significant with the incorporation of the mitigation measures that are listed in the board report and the agenda as contained in the MND. 4, adopt the MND. 5, specify that the Bureau of Street Services Urban Forestry Division located at 1149 South Broadway is custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And 6, approve the request for a fee tree removal permit for 6 Indian laurel, these are ficus trees. Due to the reconstruction of the sidewalk, curb, and gutter, tree replacements are required. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 5.
case, Willits versus Los Angeles, regarding sidewalk and curb and gutter for the reconstruction and the removal and the destruction of 6 Indian laurel fig ficuses. Now, what's the purpose of Jose Huizar destroying trees that have been growing there? It's not going to improve anything better. It's just going to make the situation worse for more eyesores. The same eyesores we hear about Jose Huizar are coming from Zacatecas, being 4 years old, and no one really gives a fuck about Jose Huizar, especially myself. After all, I'm trying to preserve life and trees, not destroy communities by gentrification and removing trees where people want to live. So when it comes to tree removal, I'm pretty sure at South Mateo Street, Huizar cares less. The same way he cares about the gentrification of homeless people who need trees to hide from the ultra rays that come down from the sun, from the violence of the storms when it rains, and use the canopies of the trees as umbrellas. But no one cares. So if you really care this Thanksgiving before you stuff yourself, the way Huizar stuffed himself with Francine Godoy, and we, the taxpayers, paid for it, I just want to remind you that, once again, you should stop tearing down trees and prune around them, prune the root system around them, and maybe have a maintenance crew that actually does their goddamn job and fix the sidewalk and streets and construct around the trees and have a system that really works instead of making bullshit over this issue under CD of
2 minutes.
Jose Huizar in 14. Thank you, Mateo.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. Spindler, you have a card in on number 5 for the puppet.
Yes, the puppet, I think, will address. That is right. Now, I visited the city of Pasadena. You know what Jose Huizar has in common with the city of Pasadena? Well, in 2005, while getting a massage, a young lady working there said Jose Huizar tried to assault her, yes. And then when the police department from the great city of Pasadena asked him where he lived, not once, not twice, but 3 times, while running for the city council in CD 14, you know what he said? He lives in Santa Ana. It's so goddamn funny, isn't it? Yes. And the city of Pasadena has a 9th Circuit Court of Appeals. That's where we went down and we argued the case before the U.S. 9th Circuit. And you know what they have in all the areas? Beautiful trees. All of their trees are preserved. And you know what they said? We brought up the subject. I said, well, my friend said, look at all these beautiful trees. They're killing them all in LA. And you know what they said? Yes, we know we can preserve all trees, but the city of LA cuts them down because the city of LA doesn't give a shit about the people, and we do here in Pasadena. So that's all it is. This is a big puppet show. So you have a man who ran for this seat, CD 14, who didn't even live in the district at the time. Therefore, he is revocable as a city councilman. Now, for 8 years, you go to the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch and Eric Holder, and they go, oh, the Democrats, we're not going to prosecute. But now we will look at Jeff Sessions and we'll see if we can get Huizar thrown the fuck off of this council. So at the moment, please do not cut
2
these
minutes.
trees down.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler, on agenda item number 5. Mr. Tyson, we'll start with you to summarize what we're doing on number 5.
Morning, President James, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives, Executive Officer, and City Attorney. The applicant, Keith Ray, developer's representative for Balades Palmetto LLC, is constructing approximately 170,906 square foot commercial development. I'm going to elaborate a little bit on what he's developing. project will maintain one of the existing buildings and will construct 3 new buildings for a proposed 170,906 square foot commercial development. Uses in the development will include general retail uses, restaurant uses, and creative office space. Building 1 is the existing warehouse located on the southern portion of the site with frontage along Mateo Street. The building is 1 story with a height of 31 feet and consists of 42,585 square feet of area and a 1,205 square foot patio. While the majority of the building will remain, the project does propose to do a facade remodel. Building number 2, which is located on the northern portion of the site along Mateo Street, is a proposed 3-story building consisting approximately of 73,543 square feet of area and 1,101 square feet of outdoor patio. As proposed, the ground floor will consist of retail and restaurant tenants, while the 2nd and 3rd stories will be used as space for creative offices. The 3rd building, building number 3, is located on the northern portion of the lot and fronts along Palmetto Street. Excuse me. The building is proposed at 2 stories and will consist of 14,277 square feet of area. The building is proposed to accommodate retail and restaurant uses. Building 4 is located on the western portion of the site with frontage along Palmetto Street. The proposed building will consist of approximately 45,501 square feet of ground floor retail and restaurant uses, 1 subterranean level of parking, and 3.5 levels of above ground parking. The 4 buildings will be separated by 3 open to sky paseos that will provide pedestrian access to the site from both street frontages as well as from the corner of the site. The project will provide 540 automobile parking spaces and 76 long-term bicycle spaces in a parking structure. There will be 1 driveway that will surface the parking structure, which will be located on the easternmost corner of the site along Palmetto Street. Short-term bicycle parking spaces will be located throughout the perimeter of the site. Mr. Ray contacted the Bureau of Street Services requesting that the project site be inspected to determine the relationship between the proposed construction, sidewalk improvements, and the adjacent street trees. The Bureau arborist inspected the location on October 14, 2016, and found 6 Indian laurel fig trees measuring approximately 22 inches in diameter by 20 feet in height. The trees have been repeatedly pruned overhead due to the overhead communication wires, and at the other end by Palmetto, there's energized lines. The severe pruning consistently on the tops of the trees will need to continue if the trees were to remain because the communication lines and energized lines will always be there. The Bureau agrees reasonable development of the property will require this removal of the 6 Indian laurel fig trees, and this is why. The project entails extensive sidewalk reconstruction, curb, and gutter replacement on Mateo Street. Due to the scope of the project, the required root pruning on 2 sides of the trees, which is not allowed, would severely and significantly and adversely affect the tree's root structural integrity. Therefore, sidewalk reconstruction would require tree removal due to the scope of the sidewalk, curb, and gutter repairs. The trees would be recommended for removal. Nate Hayward, 14th Council District, and the Community Forest Advisory Committee were informed of the tree removal request on October 17th. The applicant shall plant a minimum of 12 24-inch box lavender trumpet trees on site to replace the removed trees. These trees grow to an average height of 20 to 30 feet, which means they would be perfect trees under the wires for the future of the trees to last for however long they can stay there. They would not need to be severely topped over and over and over. Replacement tree planting shall follow the landscape planting to the fullest extent possible. The Bureau shall be notified no later than 5 days after the completion of the tree replacements. A Bureau arborist will make arrangements to the site and approve the tree replacements as being in compliance with the permit conditions within 5 working days of the notification of planting completion. The Bureau shall be notified immediately if any permit conditions have been violated or cannot be fulfilled. Failure to comply with this requirement may result in fines or legal actions. The lavender trumpet trees shall be provided irrigation for a minimum of 5 years. So therefore, the Bureau is requesting that the board consider the approval of the 6 trees so that the pending development can take place.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Tyson. We have a speaker who's a representative of the applicant, Charuni Patabanda. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Commission. Charuni Petibanda with Glazer Weil on behalf of the applicant and property owner. First of all, we'd like to thank staff for all of their work regarding the trees and the staff report. We support the staff report fully and ask that you adopt its recommendations. We have the architect and the owner here if you have any further questions. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you for coming this morning. Any questions for Mr. Tyson or for the applicant? We'll start with Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, I just had some basic questions. Whose district is this particular project?
This is Council District
14, Commissioner Councilman Weezer.
Yes.
Weezer. And no response from them on the project? No.
Nothing,
problems.
no objections were heard.
Thank you.
Okay, anything from Commissioner Repenning?
I just wanted to say that I appreciate the 2-to-1 replacement on site for this project and that irrigation is being installed.
I believe that they will actually be able to plant some other trees over on Palmetto as well, so there will be more than what's required planted.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything further? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 5. Is there a second? By Commissioners Davis and Repenning. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 5. Any issues sending it forthwith? We'll send it forthwith. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Campos, have we cleared the desk except for general public comment?
After general public comment, yes.
Okay. Then we will have general public comment. Mr. Herman, you put in a card on general public comment.
General public comment. When it deals with building hotels or having projects for hotels, we have to think of Jose Huizar when it comes to such consideration and the programmatic problems he creates by not taking into the initiative of adding the Alias Act to all the projects. After all, engineers are involved in the Alias Act because they have to go through a requirement through Public Works to see whether or not the project can be approved under the EIR. So when you're making decisions on behalf of public interest, you should really take into consideration and vote regarding the Alice Act as well. Because that Alice Act protects all the homeless people that you disregard in a shamble of a ways when you close your eyes and walk by them on the street, not daring to say hello, not daring to acknowledge them the way Jose Huizar acknowledges women at City Hall. Because it comes with a bench French benefit, as you all know. So when it comes to Huizar and development and Plum, we have to stop the economic growth of systematic, programmatic problems that Jose Huizar is creating in our city. This way, people can really have a home. Veterans and homeless women and children can actually have a home. And like brought out in the news this morning, right there off of Cypress, a family of 4 were saved by the LA Fire Department. Why? Because Jose Huizar finds better placement for homeless people living in the LA River than actually using HHH or measure whatever bond that you jackasses all voted for. And so that's the reason why we're going to pay more taxes
2 minutes.
and have less revenue and returns for the homeless. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. Spindler, you have a card in on general public comment that I think your partner put in for you. Go ahead.
This is the handiwork of Mr. Davis here.
Egregious crime at LA City Hall. A man put on a KKK hood during a council meeting and appeared to threaten President Herb Wesson, who is black. KCAL 9's Rachel Kim is at City Hall tonight where that man was arrested. Rachel.
Well, Elsa, the LA City Council says Wayne Spindler, who is an attorney, is no stranger to them or their meetings here at City Hall. They say they've gotten used to his antics, but this time they believe he went too far.
Going for the gold. Votes aye.
The LA City Council is used to getting an earful from some during public comments. But on May 11th, Council President Herb Wesson got that and more from this man, Wayne Spindler.
So I just want to go on record to make sure that the city attorney's office knows that this idiot has done what he's done.
This is audio of what Wesson said to Spindler, shown in these pictures from the LA Sentinel. Spindler was wearing a KKK mask with a swastika on it when he passed notes to Wesson, covered with profanity, racist language.
Now, did you note that? Bullshit. That was not a picture of that meeting, but Davis attended the press conference and supported that lie, that I was wearing a hood and delivering death threats to the African American Council. This is what you do. This man, Davis, needs to get the fuck off this panel. This was a total fraudulent arrest. A total fraudulent arrest. And a goddamn false light in the public eye to destroy me, my reputation, 21 years as a lawyer. Because this guy here and his friends are upset because I interfere with their lobbying efforts. Because I get in the way of their thievery. Because I speak the truth. They have to make up a story that this is a picture of him with a hood on. I got death threats from this. They painted KKK on my car.
2 minutes.
Fuck you.
Mr. Spindler.
Get off this panel, liar.
Spindler, your time is up. Mr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Okay, we have an adjourning motion from Commissioner Rivas. Commissioner Rivas, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
One moment, Commissioner Rivas. This is an adjourning motion for someone whose life was lost, so we would like order in the hearing room, please.
You lost my life with this.
Mr. Spindler. Mr.
The only person that's lost his life at your hands is me.
Mr. Spindler, we're trying to have.
Fucking lie that you've done to me.
We're just trying to have an adjourning motion.
You don't have a right to that. You have to address what you did to me.
We're simply just we're just trying to have an adjourning motion, and then the meeting will and then the meeting will be adjourned. Mr. Spindler, we're just seeking to have an.
21 years of my life down the drain because you do this to me. 21 years of my life.
Mr. Spindler, that's not within the purview of the Board of Public and the Board of Public Works.
Mr. President, we can have the constituent remove if you'd like.
Well, I would simply like to ask him to allow us to go through the adjourning motion. Mr. Spindler, we want to adjourn the meeting in order.
Why don't you do something about it?
Mr. Spindler, the Board of Public Works is not the forum for that.
You're a former United States attorney.
Mr. Spindler, I'm trying to adjourn the meeting in order. You're either going to let us adjourn the meeting in order, or you're not. So again, I'm going to ask again if you would allow us to adjourn the meeting in order.
Yeah, adjourn it in the memory of my life that you took from me with your fucking lie, making me out to be a KKK.
Mr. Spindler, we're trying to adjourn the meeting in order. Okay, sir, I'm sorry that okay, sir. So yes, he's disrupted the meeting to the point that I can't adjourn the meeting in order. Now, Commissioner Rivas, go ahead.
Thank you, President
Thank
James.
you.
Last week, we lost a man that made a difference in the lives of a lot of youth in Los Angeles, including myself. Mr. Richard Giger Jr. was 87. He was a musician and an educator that inspired thousands of Los Angeles youth. He learned to play music while serving our country in the U.S. Army. Giger was the grandson of a slave that was born in East St. Louis, Illinois, that went on to lead the U.S. Army Band after joining the Army at age 16. After 25 years of serving our country, he pursued a career as an educator, and fortunate for us, he moved to Southern California and started teaching at the LA Unified School District. He brought his talent and discipline to public education in Los Angeles by turning the San Fernando High School into a music powerhouse. Giger led the San Fernando High School band and drill teams to 13 consecutive LA Unified Championships. He instilled the highest standard to his students, including myself, while I was on the drill team. As a member, I learned a lot from him, and including my classmates. We learned discipline that we still practice today. I remember one time showing up late to practice, and he didn't let me and some of my fellow drill team members perform because we weren't there on time and not ready, which really taught me the importance of being prepared for everything you do at such a young age. So today I want to honor Mr. Richard Giger Jr. Because he really made a difference to lots of Los Angeles youth, and we will miss him. So just want to adjourn in his memory and his dedication and service to Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas. We are adjourned in his honor.